Hello everyone, in this video I will show you how to build and launch a Masumi agent. We're going to start with initializing the agent with the Masumi pip package. We are going to register it on Masumi, test it on the Sokosumi marketplace. We are going to add business logic to it, and then we're going to deploy it to make sure it's live and usable. Let's get started. So the first thing that you have to do is that you have to open your editor. I'm going to use cursor here. And I'm going to start with initializing a virtual environment and making sure that Masumi Python package is installed. So let's start with creating a virtual environment. Actually, it's Python 3. Now we have a virtual environment. We have to activate it. And now we have our virtual environment activated here. I'm going to install Masumi. After Masumi is installed, we can initialize the agent. So Masumi has a CLI tool, and one of the very nice comments is Masumi init. It's going to help you to initialize an agent with all the basic necessary files and dependencies so that you can start really quickly. So here I'm going to rename the agent to press-release agent, because that's what I want to build. I want to build an agent that does press releases that are following some basic rules for press releases. Yeah. Now when our directory is initialized, we can check here what we have. We have a .env.example file, and this file already has some environment variables that we're going to need in the future. We're going to copy this file to a real .env file. We have git ignore, we have agent.py that will include our business logic here, and then we have a main.py file that runs the agent. What I really love about Masumi Python package is that it abstracts all the protocol side things. There are multiple endpoints that your agent must have in order to being able to participate in Masumi network, and this package already abstracted all of them. So your agent will be available, and Masumi will be able to communicate with your agent, hire your agent, but you don't have to set them up manually, and it makes it much easier. Of course, you can do it all manually if you want to do some granular adjustments, but for most basic agents you really don't need to complicate your life basically. So here we also have a readme with some instructions on how to run the agent, the structure, the file structure, and some deployment tips, and then we have the requirements. There is not much in there. So after initializing our agent, we have here this quick setup command. I'm just going to copy paste it. Okay, and what it's going to do, it's going to go into our newly initialized agent directory. It's going to install the requirements, and it's also going to copy the .env.example file to a .env file, which is a real environment file. So nice, now we have the .env file here. And now one of the commands that you can run is Masumi check. And it's basically a very simple command that checks if you have any environment variables that are missing. And here it's important to have your payment API key and seller wiki in order to run the agent, even for testing it. Then agent identifier is also necessary, but it's not needed right now or at the testing stage. It's going to be necessary when we are going to be hiring it with Sokosumi. So now we need to get these two environment variables. And where do we get them? We get them at a Masumi payment service that you have to run yourself. If you don't yet have it, we are going to install it now. If you already have it, you can skip this section to timestamp that it's going to be probably here on the screen or somewhere in the comment. So let's go and install our Masumi service. So as a first step, you need to go to docs.masumi.network, and here you have the install Masumi node instructions. There are 3 ways to install Masumi node. One is using Docker Compose, one is with the manual setup and the Railway templates, and I believe that the easiest and the fastest way to get up and running with Masumi node is with Railway templates, and that's what I'm going to recommend you to use. You can of course use any other methods, and there are full instructions on how to do it in the docs, but for the sake of speed we are just going to use a Railway template right now. We are going to click on this deploy on Railway button, and now you must click on deploy now. You already have the template pre-configured here, and there is only one environment variable that you need to add here, and that's your Blockfrost API key for Preprod. We are going to start with registering the agent on Preprod, which is Cardano testnet. In the future, when you will be ready to put your agent up on mainnet, you can do that, but at this point we are only going to go through Preprod, but the instructions for mainnet are extremely similar. You just have to use other environment variables. So we're going to go to the Blockfrost website. Yeah, I'm just going to copy my Preprod API key here, and I'm going to paste it into this template, and the config is saved, and now I'm going to deploy. It's going to take a couple minutes until this is deployed, but I already do have my payment service running, so I'm just going to open the one that I already have. The only thing that will be different when you will be opening your payment service for the first time is that you will have to save your seed phrase for your Cardano wallet that got created with the Masumi payment service, and make sure you save it somewhere secure. I like to use the password manager for those, but you can also write it down. But yeah, avoid putting it up on the internet, like on your cloud or in your messages or whatever. Like, don't do that. That's not safe enough. I think that password manager or physical paper is a good option to do that. But since I already have mine, I am just going to gather the environment variables that I need to run my agent here, and I need seller wiki and payment API key, and I will also need the payment service URL. So here, in order to get the seller wiki, I'm going in my wallets, and I need to get my selling wallet wiki. I'm going to open this and copy the wiki that I have here. All right, going to save this, and then I need to get my API key for the payment. I already have a bunch of API keys here. You can create a new one if you would need. Make sure it's read and pay, and I'm just going to copy one of them, paste them here, and I am also going to get the URL of my Masumi payment service or Masumi node, and I'm going to paste it here. Make sure to remove the endpoints and add the /API/v1 in the end, so that it's going to use the API. And now if we are going to run Masumi check, we actually have everything except the agent identifier, but that is all right. So now, in order to test that our agent is fine and good, we are going to run it here with Masumi run. And yeah, we already have here a bunch of endpoints that we can test. We can open the docs, and it's going to be the Swagger for the API that our agent has exposed. And as you can see, all these endpoints are the endpoints that are required by the MIPs or Masumi improvement proposals here for the agentic service API, and you can read more about them here in documentation. We are not going to go through them right now. Just know that your availability endpoint is really important. We can also find it here. Localhost 3000. Is that 3000 or is it? Oh, it's 8080 actually. Okay, we're gonna do 8080, and we can see that Masumi agent server is operational. Perfect. We also see that we got these requests for the availability here. That's pretty good. And now, in order to register our agent on the remote Masumi payment service, we can't just register the locally running agent on remote on the deployed Masumi payment service, because it's not going to work network-wise. So what we're going to do is we are going to expose our agent that is running locally with ngrok. I feel like it's a very nice testing option. In the future, when you're going to deploy your agent on remote, of course, you don't have to do that anymore, but here, ngrok, I'm going to say HTTP 8080, and now whatever is running on the locally on the port 8080 is going to be available with this endpoint. And I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go to the docs. You see here the same Swagger as the one that we saw before. All right, so from here we can actually finally register our agent on Masumi Payment Service. I'm going to copy the URL of the agent, and I'm going to go to the AI agents in my payment service. I'm going to register this AI agent. I will only remove all the endpoints. I just need the URL, and I'm going to say that it's press release agent test. This doesn't really matter. For now, we are just testing, so we can put whatever here. Now, one really important point: if you want your agent to be available with Sokosumi, you must pick USDM, because Sokosumi supports only USDM agents. So we're going to put 5 USDM here. Test, test tag. All right, so I'm going to register this agent, and now it will take a couple minutes until the agent ID appears here. As soon as it appears, we're going to copy it, we're going to put it in our environment variables, and we're going to rerun the agent in order for the agent to pick up this new environment variable. So now I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes. Alright, so we finally have our agent ID. Even though the agent is not yet registered, we already have it, so we can just go ahead and put it in our environment file. And I'm going to rerun the agent. Make sure not to rerun the ngrok, because then it's going to change the forwarding URL and you'll have to re-register it again. At least if you're using the free version of ngrok, it changes the URL every time you run it again. So yeah, now we just have to wait until the registration is done, and in the meantime, let's go to Preprod. On Preprod Sokosumi, we will be able to see our agent later. Right now we can go to our agent gallery here. Let's go to explore agents, and here we're going to search for our press release test. I believe this is this one, press release agent test. I had already tested it before, so we have another one that is already deployed. We'll just ignore this one, but here is our press release agent test, and we can actually see, if we go back to our agent, that we're getting more availability requests here. So which means that our agent is up and running, and it's if we are going to click on hire agent, we should get the request of input schema here, because that's how Sokosumi learns about what kind of input schema our agent has and what it should render in order to hire the agent. So let's just say hello and hire it and see what happens. We hire it, which means that we sent the start job request, and here it just says everything that it does. It creates this payment request, and now we are going to check every 10 seconds if this payment request has been paid for Sokosumi. Now we have the awaiting payment status, and it also created a job, so we can just copy this job ID. And if we are going to go to the Swagger of our agent and we are going to search for status, we'll put this job ID here and we're going to execute it, then we can see that this job ID has the status awaiting payment. Great. So now we only have to wait for Sokosumi to process the payment, and as soon as our agent is going to see that the payment has been processed, it's going to execute the job. So that's pretty much it. Right now we only have to wait. And if we go back to Sokosumi, yeah, it also registered that the payment status is awaiting payment. So let's wait to see that the job processes fully from the beginning to an end. And that's how we know that our agent is following the Masumi protocol, right? And then we can add some business logic, and we will know that we are not breaking anything in the meantime. Or if we will break something, we will have a safe checkpoint to go back to in order to build agent as fast as possible with as less errors as possible. Let's see what the agent does. Right now it's still waiting for the settlement. Okay, seems like the payment was confirmed for this job, and it starts the agent logic. Let's take a look at what our agent logic is, right? So here we have only a basic processing like job function, and what it does is it's going to request human to give its input. We are using like this human in the loop function here, request input from Masumi, and then the human has to either approve or disapprove the request or the job, and then it's going to return the text that we input in the beginning. So it's an extremely basic and simple agent that is, you can't even really call it an agent, right? It's just a function that does basically nothing, but we do have the working human in the loop here, so we can approve the processing. We have like the hello text that we input in the beginning, and now we're just going to submit it. Input has submitted, and now it's going to finish the job. It's going to record the output of the job on chain as well. Now we again have to wait for a little bit. Preprod is also the testnet of Cardano, right? And it's slower than normal chain. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to complete each step, but yeah, it is what it is. Now we are just monitoring and waiting for the on-chain confirmation. All right, it seems like the job is done. So, and it's completed. We have also the result hash, and it's not yet settled on chain, but that's fine. We can see the transaction on the Preprod scan, Preprod Cardano scan, that everything was registered on chain, which is pretty good.